Welcome to Connecting to Spirit with Stacey, a weekly journey into the spiritual world with Evidential Medium Stacey Niedentohl. With nearly 10 years of experience offering transformative private, group, and platform readings, Stacey is also a passionate mentor, guiding students for over 5 years to unlock their intuitive gifts. She is the author of 2 impactful books, My Head Knows, But My Heart Still Hurts, a 30-day grief recovery journal, and My Chrystal Addiction Diary, an exploration of crystal and stone energy for healing. So please welcome the host of Connecting to Spirit, Stacey Niedentohl.
Hi, everyone. I'm Evidential Medium Stacey Niedenthal, and this is Connecting to Spirit on Bold Brave Media. I hope you all are having a great week, a great day. It's Tuesday. It hasn't been too bad out today, but gosh, I just wanted to check in with you today. You know, we've gotten through the holidays, and we are at the 28th day of January. So, how is your January going? I want to talk about checking in with yourself. We're going to talk about boundaries and spiritual awakening and letting go. Because I feel like after the holidays, we just have to get settled back in and find alignment within ourselves again. We need to just kind of go inward again and say, okay, it was kind of crazy for the last couple of months, but now we're back into our normal way, or we should be, or we're trying to get back into our normal way. So, this is that check in with you. And I wanted to talk about a group that I was in a couple weeks ago. And in the group, and it was before Christmas, and the group is a safe place that I meet with other like minded people, most are mediums, that we talk about things that maybe we're struggling with, or it's almost like a spiritual circle, but it's an open forum. And we can literally just have a conversation about experiences and different things that come across our desk or things that we run into. And the topic that night was boundaries and letting go. So as we continue to talk, we talked about why it's so difficult to let things go. Why is it hard for us to relinquish the things that we know are not good for us, but we hold on to them for some reason, feeling as if we can fix them or we can make it better. You know, I don't know, the struggle is so real sometimes with that. And as we're having this conversation, a few of the people that were in the circle spoke. Most just kind of listened and nodded their heads. Um, and there were so many heartfelt comments that were in the chat. And a lot of people feel more comfortable putting things in the chat than talking live in the Zoom room. But we were all in this non judgment space with one common thing in mind. And it's that soul searching, it's that healing, and it's to achieve healing for others as well. The goal, of course, is always to heal ourselves and then help heal others. So, when we were talking about boundaries and we were talking about things that were difficult for us during the holiday season and, getting out of balance and finding serenity and things like that, there were 3 or 4 people that spoke. And I noticed that when they spoke, they had like a certain theme. They had this certain feel about them. And I don't know if I noticed it or if the facilitator brought it up, but all of the people who spoke were in recovery. And they were talking about the triggers of the holidays and family gatherings. They were talking about the triggers of just everyday life. And the holidays and life in general can put unwanted pressures on us. And when we talk about triggers, it's not just recovery based, it is life based because we all have certain triggers. And while we were talking about this, I remember the facilitator, she kind of chimed in and she acknowledged the thought process of we are all in some type of recovery. because we are all in this life. We have all recovered from something, a loss of a job, a loss of a loved one, addiction, some type of trauma, surgeries, but there's always some type of recovery, some healing process that we were going through because we are experiencing life. It's that human experience. And some experiences are really good and some experiences are not. So I just wanted to kind of talk about how these physical healings, how these emotional healings, these recoveries, how they're all part of spiritual awakening, setting boundaries, and not just setting boundaries, but letting go of certain things. So as we were talking, and we were all in this constant thought process of, oh my gosh, like this big aha moment came to me. Like we're in the recovery of life. It's absolutely true. But one of the participants talked about this quote that the Dalai Lama said, and it says, "How well did you live? How well did you let go?" And I thought, how interesting that is. There are certain things that we need to let go of in our life. And, whether it's worry or stress or, things that keep us up at night, they're things that we need to let go of. And we need to recognize the thought, the need to no longer have it in our lives. We need to set some boundaries up. It's okay to say no to certain things. It's okay to say yes to certain things. So, in the beginning of the year, I always like to reflect. And I reflect back to 2024 and I think about the things that I released, the things that I learned, the things that I wanted to learn or wanted to be involved in and weren't. And I thought about what type of boundaries were around me. I thought about, what I needed to let go of. But then, what do I want to bring in 2025? What do I want? What situations? I don't know if situation is the right thing. What opportunities do I want to bring in? And when I'm reflecting on the 2 years, I was thinking, why is it difficult to let go of things? Why do our minds stay locked in on the things that are not good for us? Just like good food tastes yucky, bad food tastes yummy, right? We know we should eat better, but we want that chocolate cake, right? So it's letting go of the need of feeling as if you have to fix something, as if you can't let it go because it's always been with you. The only thing that you can control is what you bring into your life, your reaction, your response to the things that are around you. And I thought to myself, why is this so difficult? Have we just grown so accustomed, so numb to the fact that this is just all that our life is going to be? Don't we want better things for ourselves and for others? So I know the change can be scary, and there's always that difficulty. In order to let go of something, sometimes you need to walk through it. You need to face it eye to eye and walk through it. And I wish this podcast was about 12 simple steps on how to let go of your things that no longer serve you. 12 simple steps of the boundaries that you need to put around you to live a glorious life. I wish I had those answers, but I don't. I have suggestions. I have different things that I think about that I want to share with you. So in this group, and I'm a big proponent of different quotes and things that will make your mind go, "Oh, never thought of it that way." And the one girl read a quote, now I'm paraphrasing. It says, "What if we were able to move forward as if it was as though it was part of the process?" So lights went on in my head. And I thought, there's a process to everything. So this is all part of the process. There's a process to starting the car. You need the keys. You need to open the door. You need to get into the car. You need to start the car. You need to put the car in reverse or in drive, depending on where you're at. You need to make sure there's oil and gas in the car. You need to know where you're going. It's all part of the process. So I'm thinking to myself, it's the same thing as your spiritual reality of things. There's a process. There is an absolute reason for everything. We may just accept that we don't completely understand the whys, but I struggle with it. I think to myself, if I just understood why this happened, whether I like it or not, it may be easier for me to set a boundary up or to let go of it. But the human side of me says, I don't need a boundary. I don't need to let go of it. I can fix it. I can heal it. I mean, I struggle with the reality of this thought process of letting go of something. If I was given the answer, would it still be the same outcome? I don't know. I don't know. This is just one of those things that I want you to ponder about and think about as we talk about spiritual awakening, as we talk about spiritual principles, as we talk about connecting with consciousness. So even though I aspire to handle all situations in the best way possible, sometimes I fall short. And when I fall short, I think, was I compassionate? Was I forgiving? Did I recognize it? Did I understand it the proper way? I'm recognizing the truth that I'm given at the time. So I need to make the best possible decision at the time. It's part of recovery. It's part of life recovery. And no matter what your situation is, you can think of all situation as a form of recovery, as a form of healing. So, as I'm thinking about this, I realize that there are 12 spiritual principles of recovery. There are 12 spiritual steps to awakening, and there are 12 steps for Alcoholics Anonymous. And I thought to myself, was wondering, okay, so why 12? What's magical about 12? It's on my next page, so I have to move it forward. So 12 is a symbol of completion, but holding on to the energy of new beginnings. It's a divine number given from your guardian angels to be optimistic because life is going to get better. It's being aware of the possibilities of greatness. It's seeing the similarities of the principles and the steps of awakening and recovery. They all intertwine. They're all one and the same. It's just spoken in different ways for you to go, oh my gosh, I never thought of it that way. So the 12 principles, spiritual principles of recovery, and this is recovery from grief and trauma and things such as that. So the principles are acceptance, hope, faith, courage, honesty, patience, humility, willingness, brotherly love, integrity, self-discipline, and service. When you put them all into your life on a daily basis and you're aware of them, suddenly the load that you're carrying may not seem quite as heavy. You've accepted that there is hope and faith because you have the courage to be honest with yourself and to be patient with yourself, to humbly be willing to have brotherly love, to find integrity and self-discipline, and then be of service. It's sharing it. Once you learn these things, when you hold them into yourself and you don't share them, now you've got this little secret that needs shared. And I feel so strongly about this, having had a spiritual awakening, having gone through recovery of life, of trauma, of grief. I just want to give you some things to think about. And when we get back, after these few messages, we're going to talk about the 12 steps of spiritual awakening. But I honestly want you to just open your mind to this, think about it, and look at what the possibilities are. So we'll be right back in a minute.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network, and tune in radio as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com.
Hi, welcome back to Connecting to Spirit with Stacey. I'm Evidential Medium Stacey Niedentohl, and we are broadcasting on Bold Brave Media. Before the break, we were talking about boundaries and spiritual awakening and letting go. If you've just joined us, welcome. You can always watch the replay on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or YouTube. But we were talking about how life is a constant state of recovery of one situation to another. And we talked about the 12 principles. So we're talking about basically the 12, 12, and 12 rule. I just made that up. Isn't that good? So when we're looking at spiritual awakening, there's 12 steps to spiritual awakening. So it's seeking. So you're constantly looking for more. You're constantly looking to grow. You're questioning the things that are around you. Why is this way? Why is this way? Why should I do this? Well, what if? It's self-discovery, shadow work, looking deep within yourself, journeying into yourself, healing. So when you do that shadow work, when you look deep into yourself and meet yourself in the mirror, basically, there's some things that you may need to heal from. And it's integration. It's integrating what you may have been taught as a child or up until this point, and the new things that you're learning. It's service to others, which is what we were talking about with the spiritual principles of recovery. Once you learn these things, it's teaching others. It's helping others. It's not just selfishly holding on to these things, but it's being of service to others. Expanding your consciousness. What the heck does that mean? When you expand your consciousness, you are opening up your thought process, you are meditating, you are bringing in light, and you are allowing your intuition to grow, which goes to the next one, intuition and guidance. So you have this little voice in your head And sometimes you may just think of certain things. Someone's name may come to mind a couple times. Intuitively, your guides are saying, call that person. It's learning to differentiate what is your human voice in your head and which is your higher self. Manifestations, manifesting what you want to bring into your life. How do you want it to look? Where do you want to go? What do you want to be? What do you want to create? What legacy do you want to leave behind? The mastery of consciousness and the conscious the conscious unity. So that's the human self and the higher realm, your guides, your angels, God, creation, the universe, ascended masters, however you want to look at that. And then it goes back to service. So you see the similarities between the two. One is like the acceptance of and the hope of, and the other is seeking, finding, searching. You need a roadmap. If you're going somewhere, you need a roadmap. Well, in order to get a roadmap, you need to have directions. You get directions through looking at a map or reading and finding out. So the similarities to me, I was just like, oh my goodness, they're one and the same. Spiritual awakening, the spiritual principles, they're basically the same. And if I worked at the way I think, the way I respond to things, if I have more of an open mind instead of a narrow mind, friendships around me, behaviors around me change. Because now, if someone is telling me something that seems a little off the wall, maybe I'm more open to, maybe. There's the possibility. Doesn't mean I'm completely buying into it, but there's the possibility. So you have the action and you have the result in these principles and the steps. It's being aware. What are the possibilities? What can I manifest? What am I visualizing? How do I get to that point? So when you think about the 12 steps of AA, you're admitting that there is a problem, that you are struggling, that you want to resolve this problem. You are seeking help and you're making a decision to live responsibly. Okay? Isn't that basically what I was just saying with the principles and the steps of spiritual awakening? So when I looked at the 12 steps of AA, they are admitting that you are powerless over whatever addiction that there's there, that the life has become unmanageable, and given up the thought that you are not in control of what you thought you were. So we're saying acceptance, faith, hope. We're talking about service to others, spiritual consciousness, expanding that. So if your life's always been a certain way, it's saying, wait a minute, things have become out of control and I need to get in better alignment and find balance. And then we come to believe in a greater power than ourselves in order to restore our sanity. That's consciousness. That's the higher realm. That's God as you see it. That's your angels. That's your guides, your higher self. That wisdom that lies deep within each and every one of us. You make a decision to turn your will over to God as you understand it. That's faith. It goes back to spiritual awakening, spiritual principles. Are you with me? You seeing where I'm going? Searching fearlessly for a moral inventory of ourselves. We were talking about self-discovery, right? Taking that inner look. Have you ever done I always call it shadow work, but it's that dive down deep into yourself where you question why you do certain things. And then you keep questioning it. Well, I should have had an example. I'm unprepared. I'm sorry. Well, why do I do it this way? Yes, but why? I was having a conversation with someone a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about some of my events that are coming up and how November and December were kind of slow on my books. And he said to me, well, why do you want your books filled? And I said, well, because uh, I want to be of service to others. But why? So that I can help others heal. And he came back, but why? And I went deeper into it. And then he finally asked me, well, why? And I was just like, oh my God, because I want to heal the world. I believe everyone deserves to feel comfortable within their own skin, to know that their loved ones on the other side are okay. And if I can be that mouthpiece, if I can be that voice that gives them proof of life after someone has crossed and they can breathe a little bit easier, isn't that a good thing? So it's understanding that higher power, that I am not in control when I do readings. Spirit's in control. They give me what they feel you need when you need it, not necessarily what you feel that you need that when you need it. Yeah, I said that right. Okay. Searching fearlessly for moral inventory. That's exactly what that is. This friend of mine kept asking me, but why, but why, but why? Until I finally was like, because this is where my passion was. But I had to be asked several times before I figured that out. Admitting what my wrongs are to my higher power. Forgiveness. I've done a lot of things wrong in my life. People have done things wrong to me. We can't hold a grudge on ourselves or with other people. It's forgiving. It's accepting. It's growing. Being ready to have God, consciousness, the universe, remove the defects of your character. We go back to the principles. Willingness, humility. That's the word I was looking at. If you have a big ego, it's time to get humble. It's time to be put in your place, on your path, humbly, of service to others. Removing shortcomings, acceptance. Why do I always do this? Why do I always get myself in this situation? It's acknowledging the pattern of what you're doing and changing the path. Making a list and willing to make amends. That's forgiveness again. Making direct amends with those I've harmed, unless it would cause further injury. That's forgiveness. That's acceptance. That's brotherly love. That's integrity. As you add these things and as you think these things, all of a sudden, a whole new you comes out. Constantly taking personal inventory. I review my month or my year or my week and how could I have done this better? What did I do wrong? What should I have, what could I have done? It's that inventory within yourself. Seek through prayer and meditation to improve your consciousness, to connect better with God, praying for knowledge and for God's will to be carried out. What's my sole purpose? Show me. I have conversations with God all the time. You know what? Show me the path that you want me to go on. If I miss it, show me again, because I'll miss it. Make it so obvious to me that I can't miss it. But if I do miss it, show it to me again. And then it's me having the willingness to see it, even if it's not exactly what I thought it would be, because there's a reason. But number 12 is having spiritual awakenings as a result of these 12 steps. 12 principles, 12 steps to spiritual awakening, 12 steps of recovery. The outcome is always have a spiritual awakening because of these. So all of a sudden, something clicks in your brain, clicks in your energy, and says, oh my gosh, I get it. Doesn't mean 2 days later that you go, oh my gosh, I lost it. But it's that constantly being of service to others, reflecting on faith and hope and meditation, clearing the mind. I did a Tuesday talks at 10:30 this morning, and one of the things that we talked about were the clarity that you get in between the words, in the silence, in between the words. whether they're spoken audibly, where you're actually speaking them, or if it's the stuff that you're speaking in your head. It's the silence between the words that causes this awakening, this aha moment. Isn't that what the principles and the steps to awakening and the steps to recovery, don't they all intermesh somehow? Because life's experiences can be beautiful, but they can also be a pain in the butt. They can be traumatic. And you can hide away in a little hole and fall into a spiral, or you can say, wait a minute, let's roll the tape back. Why is this bothering me? Did I do something that caused this? Was this in my control? How can I change this? So it's living with a mindful life, with a spirit-filled awakening life, that all of a sudden you have this connection to the higher realm. All of a sudden, your life doesn't feel as heavy. It's reflecting, it's praying, it's changing, it's growth. And all of a sudden, your eyes are open to a different thing. All of a sudden, you're like, I understand. I get it. So we have to take a quick break here. And when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about this. But I would be so interested to find out from you if this has given you an aha moment. You can always email me at connectingtospiritwithstacey@gmail.com. But hang out with us for a few more minutes while we go to break, and we'll be right back.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network, and tune in radio as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Hi, welcome back to Connecting to Spirit. I'm Evidential Medium and your connection to Spirit during this hour on Bold Brave Media. Before the break, we were talking about recovery. We were talking about 12 spiritual principles, the 12 spiritual steps of awakening, and the 12 steps of recovery. Because in essence, we are all in some type of recovery, no matter what it is, whatever situation it is in your life. And the quote that I talked about earlier, that I paraphrased, that what if we were able to move forward as if it were part of the process? You know, when I think about where I was and where I am today, I would have never thought that I would be doing readings for people. I would have never thought I would be so comfortable with talking to those on the other side. But Spirit had a plan for me. And through dealing with anxiety and depression and some traumas that I had to walk through, all of a sudden those blocks were unblocked. All of a sudden, I had a different feeling, not only about myself, but about the world around us. And we were comparing how these 12 steps are so similar. And we were talking about what the number 12 symbolizes. Did you ever just wonder why there's 12 steps to recovery, 12 steps to awakening, 12 principles? 12 is always that magic number. And like I said, it's that it holds the energy of completion, but also of something new. So you walk through whatever it is you need to walk through, and now you have a new perspective, a new way of life, a new vision. So opening up to awaken to your higher power, to your higher sense of consciousness, to your intuition, takes trust. How many times have you thought to yourself, oh, I should take a different way to work? And out of habit, you take the exact same way, and there's construction, and now you're late for work, and you think to yourself, oh, I knew I should have gone the other way. That was your intuition saying, hey, Stacey, there's construction up ahead. Go the other way. But it's trusting that intuition. There's reasons why these things pop into your head. It's searching them out and then comparing them of what you're right about and what you're wrong about. So kind of got off the subject there a little bit, but, and you know what? I'm going to keep going with it. So when you have these intuitive thoughts, I suggest that you have an aha journal. I swear I have so many journals, it's not even funny. I bought like 2 journals just the other night, and I probably have, 6 that need written in. If I were to look just in this office, I probably have 15 journals. I have 4 that I can see right off the top, and there's some there behind me. Because when you journal things down, if you have a thought about something and you write it down, and then you pay attention to that intuition, you don't always know what the outcome is. But when you don't pay attention to it, I should have taken the other way, but now there was an accident, or now there was construction. And you write it down and you're like, oh, my guides were telling me I need to go another way. If you have a dream about something, whether it's a premonition or whether it is a visitation from a loved one, journal it. And then anytime you have this thought process of, oh, that didn't really happen, you can go back to your aha journal and go, yes, it did. It helps you to have faith in your own intuition. It helps you to seek to learn more about who you are. You literally spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in your body, in your mind, in your spirit. But are you connected? Or do you just do things robotically? I get up the same time every morning. I, put the same robe on. I take the same steps. I'm numb to that thought. Or do you say, you know what? I'm going to try something different. I'm going to drive to work a different way. I'm going to have hot tea instead of coffee. Changing it up allows you to view the world in different ways. Do you notice that when you're driving down the road, when you're the driver, you don't notice as many things that are around you? You notice the people ahead of you and the cars that are going by you. But when you're a passenger, all of a sudden you see the sky and the mountains and the trees. And oh, I don't ever remember seeing that. All of a sudden, because you don't have the responsibility of the wheel in your hand, you get this awakening. You're seeing things in a different light. That's part of the principles. Seeking, searching, accepting, being aware. What if we were able to move forward as if it was part of the process? Well, guess what? It is part of the process. Everything that has ever happened in your life has been part of the process that got you right to where you're at this very moment in time, sitting, listening to me on Bold Brave Media, right? So it's that recovery process, it's that awakening process, it's that aha moment. It's how well did you live? How well did you let go? So are you holding on to past regrets, things that you can no longer change? Are you holding on to anger with someone? They don't know you're still angry. Release them and set them free. Forgive them, release them, forgive yourself, release yourself, and cut yourself free from that situation, because all it's doing is bunching you up. Relationships, friendships end. They close. They change. People are in your life for a reason, for a season, or for life. If they're in for a reason, they're teaching you something or you're teaching them something. For a season, again, teaching you something, you're teaching them. And if the seasons and the reasons change, that opens up the opportunity for other people to come in, opportunities to come in. We're all a work in process in this crazy adventure called life. There are higher forms of connection to help you get to learn who you are. It's the strangest thing in the world to think to myself, for almost 50 years, I really didn't even know who I was. I just felt like I was that weird kid in school. Um, and then I just kind of went with the flow with certain things, outspoken about a lot of things. But once I sat down and meditated and asked and then searched, I had faith, I had the courage to search. I literally researched and read every single subject I could get my hands on, and I still am. I'm an avid reader. I'm addicted to reading. And I would suggest if there's subjects that interest you, you grab a book and you read about it. Some of the things you'll agree with, some of them you won't. Some of them you'll go, never thought of it that way. Some things that you may disagree with now, later you might go, oh, I get it now. But it's all part of our life recovery process. Living, learning, being, sharing. Don't you want to be a part of that? So, how well did you live? How well did you let go? If you are in a constant state of flux, of drama, of anger or despair, you don't know how to be happy or find joy, what's causing that? It's doing that moral inventory. It's doing the shadow work. It's finding out why. It's searching within yourself, facing it. A lot of motivational speakers will say, just think positive thoughts. Well, yes, that helps, but it doesn't resolve it. It doesn't help you to find the answers, and you're not always going to have all the answers, and that's okay. But as long as it's not keeping you stuck, all of a sudden you'll have this spiritual awakening where awakenings will happen because of the steps that you've taken. I had to back away from several people in my life that were just not good for my energy. I don't hate them. I don't dislike them. I don't wish them bad things. But on a daily basis, I just couldn't. They sucked the energy out of me. And we all have those people in our lives. But I had to have this spiritual awakening to say, because I felt guilty about it. Why do you feel guilty about self-care? Why do you feel guilty about making yourself better for the world around you? It's not about me. It's about helping to heal others. But I can't help to heal others until I heal myself. It's like this vicious circle, right? It's a hamster on a habit trail. But there are spiritual awakenings that are waiting to happen for you if you take a moment and you think about hope and acceptance and courage and honesty and humility and brotherly love. If you seek and question everything, it's self-discovery, it's healing, integrating the things that you've learned in your daily life. If you learn them and you don't do anything with it, It's not going to help anything. We all, as humans, have so many abilities that we don't use, that we don't practice, that we don't take into account of how to hone those abilities and those skills. And it doesn't, I'm not saying, oh, we should do everything possible that we can, but I kind of am. If it is going to make for a better heartfelt feeling for yourself and for others, isn't it worth it? Why be stuck? It's life recovery. It's living life to the fullest, loving the life you live and living the life you love, which you hear me say all the time. So we're a constant work in progress. I am not the same as I was 10 years ago. I'm not the same as I was 5 years ago. I'm not the same as I was yesterday. I think that's a Winnie the Pooh thing. We change every single day. I'm a day older. Right now, I'm a minute older than I was a minute ago. What have I learned? Maybe I've learned I need to be a little bit better prepared for my podcasts. I don't know. But I just really want you to take a moment and think about awakening that joy and that love and that energy and that spirit that's within you. And being able to just go, I want to learn about that. I want to feel better. I want to leave a legacy. I want to do things for other people. And I just want you to think about that while we take this quick break. And we'll come back and I'll follow up with my end result. All right, I'll be back in a minute.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network, and tune in radio as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. We discover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back to Connecting to Spirit with Stacey. I am your host and your connection to spirit during this hour. And we've, kind of walked through all of these things and we're going to sum it up here in a little bit. But if you've just now tuning in, know that you can watch the replay on Bold Brave Media or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. You can go to my social media, Connecting to Spirit with Stacey, to rewatch it. If you feel this is an episode that maybe a friend of yours could listen to, share it. Like and share. So what we were talking about are the 12 spiritual principles, 12 steps to spiritual awakenings, and the 12 steps of recovery. Because in essence, we're all recovering from something in life. And this was all brought to me when I was in a discussion in a circle talking about boundaries and letting go. Because when you think about the boundaries that we have to set around us and things that we need to let go of, they're all part of the process. We are all a work in progress. We are all a masterpiece in the universe's eyes. But sometimes some of those things need to be chiseled away a little bit, and sometimes they need to be remolded a little bit. You know, we fall down, we get back up, we resolve to get back up, we fall down again. We're like, we're not going to do this again. We make the adjustments that are needed most of the time, but we don't always realize the very first time what the situation was. So we have to become aware and be mindful of the things that are around us that are in our control or out of our control. And the thing that is in our control is how we handle it, how we respond to it, how we nurture it and allow it to grow within ourselves. We learn through prayer and meditation to awaken to consciousness. We have to have trust and faith in the answers that we receive. And you may not actually hear the answer. It may not be a voice in your head, but you may instantly have the solution to the situation. You might be able to visualize it in your third eye of how it looks. I'm that person. I have to be able to visualize something before I can do it or before I'm comfortable in doing it. I'll just do it. But if you want the best possible result, I need to be able to see it and visualize it. So when I keep going back to these two quotes, how well did you live? How well did you let go? And then you think about what if we were able to move forward in our life as if it was part of the process? Maybe it wouldn't be as difficult. It's part of the process. This is just part of the process. I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm being. And with the principles, with the acceptance and faith and meditation, all of a sudden things become clearer. And then they get foggy again. And then you go back to the step. So think about, what step are you on? Are you in the awakening step? Are you in the clarity? Are you in the sharing step? Where are you at in your spiritual walk? Where do you want to be tomorrow? Where do you see yourself next week? How can you help others? How can you forgive yourself, others? How can you show love to yourself as well as others and share that wisdom and that knowledge and that growth? I promise you, when you do that, you'll have eye-opening experiences, just like I did when I was in this circle from a few words where we were talking about boundaries and letting go. All of a sudden, to me, oh my gosh, this is about spiritual awakening. This is about the principles. This is about life's recovery. This is about how we maneuver and walk through to find our soul purpose. And maybe your soul purpose was something different 4 years ago than it is now. It's putting the action behind it. It's listening and getting still. It's searching for those answers. Now, there's a prayer that I think is an awesome mantra, and a lot of you, I'm sure, are very familiar with it. But it's, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Give me serenity for the things I have no control over. It's the peace of mind. Also, the courage to change the things that I can. If there is a flaw within me that I know is within me, give me the courage to change it. Maybe I need to have a conversation with someone that I don't necessarily want to. Give me the courage to say the right words to make it the best that it can be. And the wisdom to know the difference. It's a great prayer. It's a great mantra. It allows you to resonate in your soul and grow in your recovery in life. This will enable you to see things a different way. Maybe it will allow you to say, this is exactly the way it's supposed to have been, so I can be right here and grow from here. And when you put all these things together in a daily practice, I promise you, it will help you to live the life you love and love the life you live. Because you know what? If you're not, you're the only one that can change it. Look through these 12 principles. Think about the things that life has thrown you that you need to recover from. You know what? Thank you so much for tuning in and playing along with me tonight as I talked about letting go and boundaries. I hope you all have a great and wonderful evening. I hope that this touched your heart. And I really do honestly pray that you live the life you love and love the life you live. If not, change it. Awaken. All right. I will see you next week, next Tuesday at 8 p.m. We'll see what I talk about then. If you have a suggestion, email me, connecting to spirit with Stacey at gmail.com. And I will talk to you later. I love you all. Bye-bye.
This has been Connecting to Spirit with Stacey. Tune in each week as Stacey delves into the journey of life, healing, and spiritual connection, inviting listeners to open their hearts, clear their minds, and create the life they love. Right here, Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network, powered by B2 Studios.